Sup guys, welcome to my new guide series called Dissecting the Weapons and Armor of Tizenx. This is episode 1. I plan to have much more episodes to come, and it should be really good. Now, in this series, I'm going to be going through mostly the custom items of Tizenx. Since most people don't know a lot about them, we're going to also look at the stats of these weapons, how much they're worth, and when you should use them, and what against you should use them. This will make it very helpful. Now, first episode, we're going to be going through the first one-handed weapons. Your whips, your chaos rapiers, your haunted skimmy. Now, personally, I do not have an ice whip. I'm sorry to say. I kind of failed you there, but it's around 45 bill, I believe, or something ridiculous like that, and I'm not spending 45 bill on a whip that I probably won't be able to resell. I don't have that type of money to just flaunt. Now I'm just gonna do this, and as you see, I already have my whips ready for you. Now the first whip is your regular whip, your classic whip. This is your 82 slash, 82 strength. Use it whenever. Worthless because it's basically your regular whip from Cole Gear. Have fun with it. Next we have your old school whip. This whip has the same exact stats as the regular whip, but this one is worth 15 bill times, meaning it's worth 15 bill. I do not ever recommend buying this to use. It's really just for show. I honestly don't think it looks good. I need to sell it. If anyone wants to buy it, you can tell me. I'll just sell it. But that's it. Let's go on to the next whip. We got a yellow whip coming up. The yellow whip at 85 slash 85 strength is 3 better in slash and strength than the regular whip. Really, I'd say you can use this whip whenever you want. I personally wouldn't use it to high risk because it's just not that good comparably. And I will always want to have it the highest edge I can have when I'm high risking because, that little bit can depend on you hitting a 500 and killing a person, just hitting a 400 and dropping them to a low hit point. Let's move on. The upgraded Abyssal Whip. This is probably one of the most questioned whips out of all of them. The upgraded Abyssal Whip at 86 strength, 86 slash, has also the same exact stats as, wait for it, the Vine Whip, which I sadly do not have in my inventory. I'm sorry, I forgot about it. But I know that it has the same stats as the PG Whip. I like this whip. I don't know what about it is. I think it looks cool. And I also kind of think that it's faster than the Vine. Now, don't quote me on this, but I just have that feeling about it, personally. But if you're ever gonna buy this whip, make sure you have like extra money to flaunt, and don't ever be risking your bank, because this whip is not worth spending the 200 or 100 mil that's gonna cost you to make it or buy it. This is really a rich person's whip, and I like it, but it doesn't mean you have to go buy it. I bought it when UPG tokens were almost worth half a coin each, and honestly, I spent probably 50 mil on it at most. Now it'll cost you 200 mil easily. It's okay. Let's go on to the next whip. Next whip we got is the blue whip. Lovely blue whip at 88 strength, 88 slash. It is a beautiful whip. This is the start where whips you can probably start using for more higher risking. And by that I mean you can actually, risk 200 mil with this whip and it'll be okay. Sadly, this whip isn't really worth that much because no one really buys or sells blue whips. Green whips and yeah, that's about it. And UPG whips maybe are the only ones that are actually used to buy and sell. It's okay, but this whip you could probably use edge or high risk. It doesn't really matter at this point with this whip. It can go both ways. You might be better with this whip at arena because I do see a lot of people just with the regular whip, and I would spend an extra 8 mil just to get a Vine whip, let alone use a colored whip, which would probably be better. Let's go on to the next whip. The white whip. This is a whole 10 strength and slash above the regular whip, and this whip is, for me, I personally recommend for high risk only. I'd say you have to risk at least 100 mil more to use this whip. That's my recommendation because it's a decent whip. It's the second best whip, and that's really all I gotta say about this whip. It's not really bought or sold either. You get all the colored whips and caskets, by the way, and you're not gonna go up to, you know, home and be like, buying white whip, and not 100 people are going to trade you. I'd say at most, you probably buy it 50, 75 mil, and I wouldn't waste my money on it. I'd rather just spend 8 mil on a vine whip, or wait till I get a couple caskets, you know. Next, finally, we got a green whip. Best whip in the game, besides the ice whip, which I do not own, as I said before. 100 slash 100 strength. Great whip. You can hit 500s with this whip constant, and it just combos the fucking shit out of people. As you might have seen in some of my PK vids, it just hits rapidly. You can buy or sell this whip for probably around 150 to 200 mil. I've seen at least personally. You know, don't quote me on it. Prices do change. And I recommend this whip for only high risk only. And this is when you're risking like an upgraded weapon or something like that. I wouldn't even risk a Karasi using this whip. And that's because I don't like to waste my whips. And, you know, I'll go from having 0 to having 7 to back to 0 with these whips because I love high risking. I'm probably addicted to it. But, you know what? It's okay. Let's go on. Our Chaotic Rapier. Chaotic Rapier has 94 stab, 101 strength. I put it at right in the middle between white and green whip if I had to rank it. Now, I'd recommend really not using this one if you have the others, if you're doing against like DH or, you know, like stuff that's weak to slash. You know, if you have like a green whip and you're doing a high risk, I recommend using a green whip. Unless, and this is where it gets tricky, if you're fighting someone in Assassins, Assassins is weak to stab. Well, it's weaker to stab, I should say. And if you use the Rapier, it will do better than the green whip. That's my personal experience with high risking with this. If you use this, you will do great against Assassins with it. It can hit 3s, 4s, 5s. I don't think I've ever hit a 600. That'd be really cool if I could hit a 600. Obviously, you can use it against Gano, but that's here nor there. I'd always recommend using a Rapier against Gano or just not fighting Gano flat out. Because speccing on a Gano is also a bitch. Next, Chaotic Longsword. 105 stab, 124 slash, 120 strength. It's slow as a motherfucker. And I personally hate this weapon. I have never gotten a good kill with it. I have never done shit with it, honestly. I just don't like it. I'd rather go pick up a Rapier or something like that. I'd rather go use a regular whip than risk this crappy piece of shit. I really don't like this weapon. Finally, we got the Haunted Scimitar. 131 slash, 115 strength. Has the highest strength level of any of the one-handed weapons, not counting once again the ice whip. Now this one retails about 5 bill, so it's not for the people who can, you know, using the right whips. Also, you're not going to be able to use this in welfare because you will lose it. It has a trade value of 6k. It is awful. A green whip will protect over this. That's how terrible it is. I honestly do not recommend buying this weapon unless you know you're going to be using it for Slayer, PVM, or high risking. I've used it for high risking. I personally don't like it that much. I like it a little, honestly. I changed my mind on that one. You know, it'll hit 500. I think I hit a 600 flat. But then, you know, you'll just go through a period where it's just like 0, 0, 0, and you're just like, fucking hit. So it's really up to you on that part. So I hope you guys like this. I hope you guys learned something about what it is like to use these weapons and what to use them against and how much they're worth. Hopefully we'll be making more of this series. I plan to. If you guys don't really like it, I'll just stop doing it and just start making PK commentaries again. If you liked it, like, favorite, subscribe, whatever. You know the deal. Just don't dislike it. Basically, if you didn't like it, don't watch it. I don't really have haters. I'm just ranting at this point, and that is completely unnecessary. I am sorry for that. Have a nice day. Hope you liked the video. See ya.